ओम नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्यास्वरूपान्तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याता सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। यस्यात्मभूतस्य गुरोः प्रसादात् अहं विमुक्तोऽस्मि शरीरबन्धात् सर्वोपदेष्टुः पुरुषोत्तमस्य तस्याङ्घ्रियुग्मं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। In the vision of Vedanta, moksha means Brahma Bhavaha. Being Brahman, being infinite entity is called moksha. Samsaraha means Jiva Bhavaha, being a Parichinnaha, being a limited entity, being Mr. Private Limited. Being Parichinnaha, being a finite entity who has lot of wants, because of which he goes towards varieties of activities in order to fulfill those wants and finally end up in a mess called samsara. The Jivatvam is an unverified conclusion. The Jivatvam, that I am limited, is a judgment which is given to oneself without having any proper data. Having concluded that I am finite, the individual cannot stand that finitude. Therefore, the Jivatvam makes him to have varieties of desires. In the last class we saw that. Those desires push him towards activities, and those activities naturally produces varieties of results, and those results will be in the form of sukha dukkha, and which is nothing but again samsara. Samsara means going through varieties of experiences which will produce happiness and unhappiness, sukha dukkha. He went for activities so that he can get rid of samsara, but ultimately he ends in again more and more sukha dukkha. Therefore it is a vicious cycle. Therefore Vedanta says that moksha means Brahma Bhavaha, being infinite. Then the question comes, how to attain that moksha? How to become an infinite entity? How can I become Brahman? Brahman means infinite entity. Because that person who has followed all the values in his life, who is an alert person, who is a dharmic man, he has observed in his life that any amount of struggle to be free from wants, to be free from smallness, to be free from insignificancy, doesn't make him free from that wants, insignificancy and smallness. At the same time, he cannot dismiss that urge also. There is an urge. Even in a child, there is an urge that I should assert myself. By whatever way I can assert, I will assert myself. That child knows only crying is the only way to assert its existence. So therefore it cries and gets it what it wants. As an adult, this fellow thinks that by changing my hairstyle, I will assert my significance. Then as an adult, assert his significancy by purchasing Mercedes-Benz car. You have to see that person when he brings out that Mercedes-Benz car from his showroom, as though he has conquered the entire world. Then within half an hour he will be in crying mood. Because somebody might have given one scratch on that car. He might have parked somewhere else, so somebody just created a scratch, then gone. Whole world it has gone. So every time he wants to become significant, become fulfilled, so he finds he is ending up only in a deeper mess, more and more sukha dukkha. Therefore, neither he can dismiss that urge to be significant, nor he can become significant. So he is tired, and he has found out his helplessness. He has discovered his helplessness. And when he discovered his helplessness, that I cannot dismiss this urge to be free, and at the same time I don't have any means to become free, that is the discovery of helplessness. Then when he discovers that helplessness, then finally he asks a question: is there anyone who can guide me? Is there anyone who can guide me? The discovery of helplessness is beautifully told in our Upanishad. Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirveda mayar nasti akrita kritene. Akritaha, freedom. Na kritaha akritaha. That which is siddha vastu, nasti kritene. Kritene karmana, nasti. That I can never become infinite by using the available means. By using my own sense organs, I can never become infinite. By getting something, by adding something in my life, I can never become infinite. This decision comes when pariksha lokan karmachitan. Not for a lazy person, not for a person who never attempted any adventure, for a person who is very, very enthusiastic in solving the problems of life. Pariksha lokan karmachitan, having varieties of duties, and brahmanaha son, being a man of values, being a man of alert mind, he gets that eye. Otherwise things are going on, coming, and it gives a slap, then it goes away. When it gives a slap, oh, like that, we, like a child, we all cry. Then again one more gilgulupa, they call it. One more toy comes in our life, then we smile with 32 teeth. Then again one slap, cry. Again one toy, laughing. Like that, a normal man's life goes on. But there are few people who can observe things. Why it should come? Why it should give slap? Why should I cry? Why should I jump when it comes? You can see the sense of victory in a tennis player's life. When he or she wins that tennis game, Grand Slam or something, how much they jump? As though they are the top of the world. When they lose the game, simple game. So, this is the question asked by a person who is an intelligent one, who observes the life. What is the question? How to attain freedom? How can I become infinite entity? How to attain moksha? Is moksha attainable? So this is the question a person asks. Tad vijnanartham sa gurum eva abhigacche. Scripture says, when he finds his helplessness, then as an intelligent being, he goes to a person who can solve this problem, who can give the answer to this question, how to attain moksha. The Vedantic teacher answers to this question, my dear, you cannot attain moksha. That is the first answer. What is the question? How to attain moksha? A genius Vedantic teacher says, my dear, you can never attain moksha. Then this person cries, that means should I suffer a whole life? No, not necessarily. Then you are telling that I can never be free. I can never become a Mukta Purusha, you are telling. Moksha can never be attained, you are telling. Then the Vedantic teacher says, moksha can never be attained, is the first statement. And second statement is, moksha need not be attained. Need not be attained. Because, fortunately, you are already Nitya Muktaha. Aitad Atmam idagam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattvamasi shvetaketu. That which is searching for, fortunately happened to be you yourself. Tattvamasi. Tat, that moksha vastu, that Brahman, that Jagat Karanam Brahma, tvam asi. Asi means you are. Bhavishyasi it doesn't say. You will become Brahman, you will reach Brahman, you will realize Brahman, it doesn't say. You are. You are. You are already that. Therefore, you cannot attain that. You need not attain that. You are that. But I don't find. You are telling me I am that. I am what? According to me, I am good for nothing. According to my teacher, I am idiot. According to my spouse, she also confirms that I am good for nothing. Not even having braveness to take bribe. Padakku theriyada aalu. So everybody says one way, and oh teacher, you are telling I am infinite. Please have compassion towards me. See my face at least. Seeing this face, you are telling that I am Ananda Swarupaha, Nitya Muktaha. Then the teacher says, you have to discover it. That is a fact about yourself. That you have to discover it. Atmava are drashtavyaha. You have to see yourself. What is statement, you see? You have to see yourself. To whom it can be told? Suppose I say, you have to see yourself. I am seeing myself. No, you have to see yourself. I am seeing myself. No, my dear, you have to see yourself. What you will tell? Swami ke da aipochi. Something happened to Swami. Because he adds a word, my dear. Atmava are, my dear, drashtavyaha. You have to see yourself. Husband says to wife. That too when? In very old age. They have lived already together some 50-60 years. That time, when the husband wants to get sannyasa, he says to wife, my dear, you have to see yourself. What is statement? That means what? So far you have not seen yourself. That means, when somebody says that you have to see yourself, that means what? So far you have not seen yourself. How you know that I have not seen myself? That's what you say. Whenever you say, I am dukkhaha, that's the meaning that you say. You say that you never saw yourself. Therefore, atmava are drashtavyaha, discover this fact that you are already muktaha. You are already a significant entity. Not only you are a significant entity, you are the only significant entity in the entire creation. First assertion is what? You are not a limited entity. You are not for good for nothing, but you are a significant entity. Not only you are a significant entity, you are the only significant entity. Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyuto bhantihi, kutoyam agnihi, tameva bhantam. Anubhati sarvam. Because you exist in this creation, everything exists in this creation. That is the assertion from the Vedanta given through the teacher, Vedantic teacher. Therefore, one should discover this fact that one is already infinite and significant, fulfilled entity. Because other than this proposal, other than this proposition, other than discovering oneself what he is already, there is no other possibility of becoming significant. If you have concluded yourself as already insignificant, if you have concluded yourself as a small person, if you have concluded that smallness is a fact about yourself, there is no question of changing the fact. Why you cannot change the fact? Because fact means that cannot be changed. What is the meaning of fact? That which cannot be changed is called fact. When you yourself declare that is the fact about myself, then why you struggle? Na bhavatyamrutam martyam, na martyam amrutam tata, prakrute ranyatha bhavaha, kadanchit na bhavishyati. If you have already concluded that you are dying entity, then how can you hope to become eternal entity? Because a martya vastu can never become amrita vastu. A amrita vastu can never become martya vastu. Therefore, this is the only proposition, only hope for humanity, whether I am already free or not. That's discovery. Any other attainment which will be in the form of a result of a particular action cannot solve this problem of finding oneself as a free person. Therefore, Shastra says, if moksha has to be eternal, if moksha has to be nityam, it should be available here and now. Do you want nitya moksha or anitya moksha? Do you want permanent freedom or do you want temporary freedom? Any thinking person will say, I have already some temporary freedom. Daily, at least some 5 hours, I have temporary freedom. Freedom from my spouse, freedom from children, freedom from all problems. When we have temporary freedom? In sleep. So I have already temporary freedom. So therefore, everyone wants freedom to be nityam. If freedom is nityam, if moksha is nityam, it can never be karma phalam. It can never be a result of any action. Because any result is subject to arrival and departure. Before it arrives, you don't have that. When it departs, you will not have it. Therefore, any attainment which is in the form of a result of an action, which is in the form of karma phalam, is subject to end. If moksha is karma phalam, then moksha also is subject to an end. Therefore, moksha can never be a karma phalam. It can never be a result of any sadhana. It can never be a result of any sadhana. If it is a result of your sadhanas, japa, dhyana, pilgrimage, dhanam, if it is result of any sadhana, then it will be a karma phalam. Then it will be subject to destruction. It will be anitya moksha prasangaha. Then it will be anirmoksha prasangaha. Temporary thing will go, then again come, then again go, then again come. Like that it will be a vicious cycle. The very meaning of the word moksha is equal to freedom from this anityatvam. Very meaning of moksha is equal to freedom from anityatvam. Therefore, moksha can never be a karma phalam. A karma phalam means you don't have before getting it, you have for some time, then you will lose it after some time. Apraptasya praptihi. It is aprapta vastu, you don't have it, you work for it, then praptihi happens. Then praptihi happens, you get it, but unfortunately, because you got it, it is subject to loss. Bhagavan Shankaracharya in his Bhashyam beautifully describes, by an action you will get maximum 4 types of results. By any action done by anyone in the creation will have only 4 results. Apyam, utpadyam, vikaryam, samskaryam. Apyam means by action you get a result called reaching. You reach somewhere else by an action. Utpadyam, you produce something new by an action. Vikaryam, you modify something which is already exists by an action. Samskaryam, you purify something which is full of dirt. For Apyam, what is the example? Reaching Kailash Manasarovar. Reaching. Travel. Utpadyam. Producing. You produce punya, varieties of punya, or you produce fat. By eating action, you produce what? Fat. Lot of fat. You produce. Then Vikaryam. You change the old products into a new product. Old chair, you scrap it and put a new polish. Vikarya. Then Sanskaryam. You purify. The mirror is already with lot of dirt, so you clean it. But moksha cannot be any of these four results. Only these four things only can happen by any type of action. You just imagine any other possibility is there. These are all challenge for a modern thinking mind. How much our forefathers have thought about the life. And they are telling only four things you can do. Any type of action, whether it is physical, oral or mental, only these four results is possible. But moksha cannot come under these four possibilities. Moksha cannot be apya vastu. It cannot be reached. You cannot attain it. Why? Sarupatva. It is your nature. If it is attainable, then you reach Kailash Manasarovar. How many days you stay? 2 hours only, Swami. How many days? How many hours you have to ask? How many days you can stay there? Minus 30 degrees, 40 degrees. So, போன மச்சான் திரும்பி வந்தான். தமிழ்ல சொல்லுவாங்க. போன மாமா திரும்பி வந்தார். கைலாஷ் மானசரோவருக்கு போன மயிலாப்பூர் மாமா என்ன ஆனார்? திரும்பி வந்தார். So when you go, you have to come back. If moksha is apya vastu, as even you get moksha, you will become again a samsari. So moksha should not be apya vastu. Moksha cannot be utpadya vastu. It cannot be produced. Why? Siddhatvat. It should not be produced. Why? Anything which is produced, anything which is born is subject to destruction. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu. Tetam bhuktva sarga lokam vishalam kshine punye martya lokam vishanti. By his punya karmas, by his charitable, noble activities, he has produced unseen entity called punyam. By that punyam, he reached a place and kshine punye martya lokam vishanti. In Upanishad, beautifully it says, tad yatha ihe karmachito lokaha kshiyate evameva amutraha punyachito lokaha kshiyate. As the local achievements are destroyed, foreign achievements also will be destroyed. That's all. If it is achieved, it is subject to loss. So, it cannot be utpadya vastu. Moksha cannot be utpadya vastu. If it has to be nityam, it cannot be utpadyam. Then moksha cannot be vikarya vastu. Because any vikara again ends with a last antima vikara, which is nothing but destruction. Jayate, aste, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate. Last vikara is vinashyati. A child is born, jayate. Then asti, it exists. It exists as it is? No, it grows and exists. Vardhate. Will it grow eternally? No. Up to 16, 17-year-old growth. Then viparinamate. After 16, mustache comes. Viparinama happens. Certain hormone changes happens. Then he become adult. Then what happens? Apakshiyate. The graph comes back to, graph is coming down. Then finally where it ends? Nashyati. Yesterday he was we are sorry to inform that so and so beloved passed away. Name from 1950 to 2015. 1950 to 2015, what is there in between? One dash. That much only the person is worthy. His life is how much worth? One dash. Bas. It is not only for human life, it is for any produced product. Date of manufacturing will have date of expiry. Fortunately, Bhagavan did not print the date of expiry on the human head. Other products are already printed. Correct? Even if it is ordinary water, the manufacturer prints, this is the date of best before. In a sophisticated way of telling is what? Instead of telling expiry, now sophisticated statement, best before. Best before means what? After worst. Correct na? So therefore, it cannot be vikara vastu, mokshaha cannot be a vikara vastu, because any vikaram ends with a destruction. Then mokshaha cannot be samskaryam. It cannot be a result of purificatory rituals, actions. Because according to Vedanta, mokshaha is the swarupa of the individual. That individual is infinite entity, Brahman, and that Brahman is asanga vastu. There is nothing second entity at all to pollute you. Why you cannot be purified? Shastra says you can never be purified because you never have any impurity at all. How can I never have impurity? Because there must be second entity to impure you. There is nothing called second entity other than you. Advaitam vastu tvamasi. Therefore, if mokshaha is karma phalam, that it will be anityam. Therefore, mokshaha cannot be karma phalam. Any of these four types of karma phalam. And that which has an end cannot be called mokshaha. Anadehe antavattvamcha samsarasya na setsyati anantatacha adimataha mokshasya na bhavishyati. You want eternal moksha, but at the same time you are imagining that it will have a beginning. What a contradiction. A person wants eternal moksha, but at the same time he imagines that it will have a beginning. A simple thinking, common sense thinking will tell you whatever has a beginning will have an end. If it should not have an end, it should not have beginning also. That's what our Gaudapada Acharya ridicules this human mind. Hey, human mind, you desire to be eternally free, and you expect that freedom to begin on a day. Some say it began on a day when I sat in Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. Some say it will begin on a day when I depart from human body to divine body, celestial body, Uttara Marga, Surya Marga. When I reach Vaikuntha, it will begin. When I reach Shivaloka, it will begin. So these are all funny imaginations of an unthinking mind. Therefore, Vedanta asks us to think properly. What is the proper thinking? Whatever has a beginning will have end. You want something which doesn't have end. Therefore, you should not expect it to begin. No, I want it. It is there already. You find out. Eternal moksha can never have a beginning. Anything which has a beginning cannot be eternal. Simple, this one, 98% of humanity doesn't know this. You see, all fightings in the world is because of this heaven only. Heaven problem only everywhere, you see. And Vedanta says, hey, even if you get heaven, is it worth getting? Certainly there will not be cricket there. No coffee, no food, no sleep. All the time you will be allowed to see dance and musics. If you want to have what you call trial, you can have here itself. Lock yourself in your room. Take one TV with remote. 500 channels are there. No food, no water, no sleep. 24 hours we enjoy. Is it Naraka or Swarga, you tell? It is Naraka. Same thing only. So therefore, Swami Vivekananda used to say, common sense is the most uncommon sense. Common sense. If I want something eternal, it should not have a beginning. This is the minimum common sense. But everybody desires for eternity, but everybody waits for eternity. What a contradiction. So therefore Vedanta says, however much you wait and wait and wait, you will not get eternity. Because if it is eternity, it should be available here and now. It should be available here and now. It should be Trikala Abhaditam Vastu. If it is Nityam, it should be Trikala Abhaditam Vastu. It should be available here and now. Therefore, stop seeking. What is statement? Stop seeking. Discover what is there already with you. That is the message of Vedanta to a person who asks, how can I attain moksha? It says, you can never attain moksha. Not only you can never attain moksha, you need not attain moksha. Why I need not attain moksha? Because it is your own nature. Whatever you attain will be different from you. You attain money, money will be different from you. You attain sense pleasures will be different from you. An attainer is different from attained result. Correct? An attainer is different from attained result. And whatever is attained is subject to Desha Kala Vastu Parichedaha. It comes in a particular time, in a particular place, in a particular way. So it is a limited entity. How can I be fulfilled? By gaining one more limited entity. Before getting it, I was small. After getting it, will I become big? I appear to be big, but I am small. Before getting a degree, everybody scolds, you are illiterate, illiterate, illiterate. As an illiterate person, I am a small person. After getting it, one day or 1 hour, everybody congratulates. Very good, very good, very good. You got degree, very good. Then second day, if you say I am degree holder, society will ask, so what? So what? You are degree holder, okay, so what? You are undergraduate only. Go for master degree. Okay, this fellow runs. Then master degree. Very good, congratulations. One cap, black cap and black coat is given for one day, one photo opportunity. Then afterwards, if you start showing that photo, you know, I have master degree, master degree. Society asks what? So what? PhDs are there, go for PhD. Tatakkim, tatakkim, tatakkim. The so what question will continue anything you attain in your life. I went to USA, so what? I am citizen of USA, so what? I am president of USA, so what? Only 4 years. Maximum you can push on for 8 years. Afterwards, nobody will bother about you. So what? I am Indra, so what? How many times you are destroyed? I am Chandra, so what? I am Brihaspati, so what? I am everything. Can you ask this question, so what? I am everything. Can you ask this question, so what? You can never ask this question, so what? Why? Because there is no second entity to ask this question. When I say I am everything, the so what question will never be there. Therefore Vedanta says, whatever you attain in your life is different from you. What you attain cannot change your idea, your notion, your conviction that I am small. Before education I was small. After education also I am small. Before having wealth I was small. Now as a rich person, I am small. My Acharya Swamiji used to say, as poor person, I am sorrowful. As rich person, I am sorrowful. As an illiterate, I was sorrowful. As a degree holder, I am sorrowful. As a local Indian, I was sorrowful. As foreign return, I am sorrowful. So I am sorrowful. I am a wanting entity. I am a what you call limited, insignificant entity. Can never go. Anything you get it. And whatever you can get it will be in the form of only four things. Either you can reach somewhere else, or you can produce something new, or you can change something, or you can purify, clean something. Therefore, Vedanta says, stop getting something. Stop the idea, stop the stop the urge to get something new in your life with a hope that I will be better off. You can be better off only when you discover that I am already better off. So therefore Vedanta says, moksha can never be karma phalam. Kritena karmana karma phalam bhavati parante akritaha na bhavati. Akritaha means what? Moksha vastu. Then the question comes, if moksha is not karma phalam, then what is moksha? The teacher says, already I told you. What is moksha? Brahma bhavaha hi mokshaha. Mokshaha means being Brahman, being infinite. Infinite means what is the meaning? That which is not limited by time, space and causality. Infinite means that which is not limited by time, space, causality. Desha kala vastu aparichinna vastu is moksha. If it is not limited by time, it should be available now. If it is not limited by place, space, it should be available here. Therefore, moksha is siddha vastu, prapta vastu. It is already attained thing. Then this person again asks, how to attain that attained thing? You are repeatedly telling it is attained. And I am repeatedly telling I don't have. Now please tell how to attain the attained. Praptasya praptihi katham. Apraptasya praptihi katham. Everybody knows. I don't have job, how to get job. I don't have degree, how to get degree. But you told all those things will not make me as infinite. Now you tell, praptasya praptihi katham. How to attain the attained thing. The teacher says, that is possible by only one way. That is possible by only one way. What is that? Discovery of the fact that it is already attained. Apraptasya praptihi jnanena eva. A father is searching for spectacle. My Acharya Swamiji used to say this. A father is searching for spectacle and is in hurry to go to office. Hey, where is my spectacle? Where is my spectacle? Where is my spectacle? Keeping spectacle on the forehead, this fellow is searching. Where is my spectacle? Then he calls his daughter. Dear, have you seen my spectacle? Daughter also sees what? Daughter also sees spectacle and the idiocy of the father. Then daughter says, Father, let us have a deal. If I give you the spectacle, what you will give? Will you take me for a cinema? Then this person is very hurry. Please tell where it is. I am in hurry. All right, promised. Weekend we will have cinema. Then the daughter shows, here it is on your forehead. In Sanskritam they call it Swakanta Abharanam Yatha. A mother is wearing diamond necklace. She has not recognized that it is already with her, and she is go on searching everywhere, and she suspects everyone who has come to home. Finally somebody comes and says, hey, it is with you already. Another example in Shastra comes, a story of 10th man. So 10 brahmacharis went, it seems, as a picnic. And one brahmachari was appointed as a leader. So every time when he goes to a place, he will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So they had to cross the river. While coming back, when they crossed the river, this person is counting, hey, only 9 is there. Only 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then everybody starts crying. And one by one comes and counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. Only 9 comes. All are crying. One brahmachari is last. Everybody was crying. And finally somebody who has gone that side, he says, Tadu Tvam Asi. The 10th man is you. My acharya used to tell another joke for the same. A person went to purchase donkeys. So he purchased 5 donkeys. Being far away, he sat on a donkey and started riding that donkey and reached the house. As even he reached the house, he was counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, 1 is missing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Then he shouts. Hearing his shouting, his wife comes. What happened? 1 donkey is missing. How many donkeys you purchased? 5. Then what is the problem? I see only 4. Wife says, I see 6. I see 6. I see 6. Praptasya praptihi is how? By pointing out that it is already praptam. That's what Vedanta and Vedantic teacher says. Moksha is nitya siddha vastu. If it is going to be an eternal entity, it should be siddha vastu. It should be available here and now. If it is available here and now, still you are missing it. There may be only one reason, that you have not recognized its presence. Asking for something which is already available with oneself is idiasi. It is called ignorance. A devotee prays to Shiva. Bhagavan Shiva comes. Bhakta, what do you want? Devotee says, Lord, will you promise that whatever I ask, you will give? Certainly I will give. You are my beloved. Please ask. Promise? Promise. Oh Lord, please put a head on my shoulder. Then Bhagavan Shiva says, impossible. Impossible. I cannot do that. Why? Why you cannot do? You are talking like politician. Just now you promised. You promised just now. Now you are talking. Why? Are you not qualified to fulfill this? Or am I not qualified person to receive this boon? Then Bhagavan says, I am not competent enough. Why? What is your boon? Please put a head on my shoulder. How can I put a head on your shoulder? I can put one more head on your shoulder. To ask this boon itself, you should have a head already on your shoulder. I can put something in your head. Or I can clean your head. Or I can add one more head. But you cannot ask me, put head on shoulder. Even to ask this question, you should have head already. Somebody says, Sir, I don't have tongue, sir. How to get tongue? How to get attain? How to attain tongue? What you will tell? You can never attain. I will not attain. Please help me, sir. What you will tell? Kilpakam poi vango. Please go to Kilpakam. Because even to say that I don't have tongue, you should have tongue. Similarly, even to say that I am suffering, you should be an entity which is free from all suffering. Because suffering is an experience, and that experience can never be the experiencer. The experiencer is different from experience called suffering. Therefore, an experiencer cannot have suffering. Why? Because you are experiencer. Experiencer of a dog is different from dog. Experience of a car is different from car. Similarly, experiencer of a suffering is different from suffering. Suffering is there, I accept, but you don't have that suffering. Very subtle argument. Therefore, Vedanta says, Praptasya praptihi is possible only by discovery of that prapta vastu. Manasai vedam aptavyam neha nanasti kinchana sa mrityo mrityam apnoti ya iha nana iva pashyati. Upanishad says you have to discover it. Manasa eva aptavyam. Not by action. Reaching the praptam, reaching the already attained is by knowledge. Because the distance between you and the Lord, the distance between you and the fulfillment, the distance between you, the insignificant, and the significant entity is not in the form of space, not in the form of time. It is in the form of notion. It is a notional distance. Any distance born out of a notion can be removed how? By sheer knowledge. Therefore, Vedanta says, Vedaham etam purusham mahantam adityavarnam tamasah parastat tamevam vidvan amrita iha bhavati nanya pantha vidyate yanaya na anya pantha ayanaya vidyate. There is no other way to gain, to attain that infinite other than knowing that it is already you. If you have concluded that you are not infinite, then there is no possibility of becoming infinite, of reaching infinite, of creating infinite, of purifying infinite. Neither Bhagavan will come under this karma phalam, nor moksha will come under karma phalam. You cannot reach Bhagavan. Why? He is already sarvagataha. How can you reach Bhagavan? He is already sarvagataha. You cannot create Bhagavan because he is the only nitya vastu. You cannot modify Bhagavan because he is nirvikaraha. You cannot purify Bhagavan. Why? Other than him, nothing is there to impure him. Similarly, moksha also cannot be a karma phalam. What does it mean? It gives a beautiful answer for our question raised in our first class. What was the question we raised? What was the question? Is moksha attainable? What is the answer? Moksha is not attainable if it is going to be a result of any action. But it can be told as attainable if it is going to be a discovery. There is a difference between getting something as a result of action and discovering something which is already there. Therefore, the distance between you and the infinite entity is being notional. The only way to get it is, only way to get that entity is jnanam. Jnanadeva kaivalya. Then we may ask a question. Then we hear so many Puranas and Mahatmas' life. They saw Bhagavan, they reached Vaikuntha, flight came and took them. Varieties of mystical experiences. None of these things you are accepting? Yes, Vedanta says, Nedam yeditam upasate. In manasa na manute, ye nahur manomatam, tadeva brahmatvam vidhi, nedam yeditam upasate. Do you say that you saw God? Yes, I saw God. Then Vedanta says, it is not God. Simple. How can you say that it is not? I saw. Rama I saw. Vedanta says it is not Rama, it is reflection of Rama. Shadow of Rama, it is not Rama. It is not original. How can you say that? Did you see? Yes, I saw that. The seer is a conscious entity or not? Yes, I am conscious entity. Then only I can say, I saw. If you are a conscious entity, if the seer is a conscious entity, what will be the seen item? I see Mike. If seer is conscious entity, Mike will be Jadam. It is inert entity. You saw form of that entity. You did not see that entity because the seer is that. Vijñātāram are kena vijānīya. In another place Upanishad asks, who can see the seer? Who can see the seer? Because always the seer and seen is always different. Then I cannot say, if Bhagavan is conscious entity, I will be Jadam. If I am conscious entity, the seen Bhagavan will be Jadam. Then how to account all these claims that I saw God and other things? You have to put one more word there, that's all. If any Mahatma says, I realized God, I saw God, I had vision of God, how you should understand? You have to put one more word, as himself. When a Mahatma says, I saw God as that his own self, he has discovered this fact. This discovery, which is called Atmajnanam, is the meaning of seeing God, realizing God, attaining God, and attaining moksha. So Vedanta concludes with this answer. As long as it is a result of any action, you don't attain moksha. If it is a discovery of an already existing truth, you get moksha or attain moksha. So, how to get this? How to get this without getting it? How to get this without getting it? Or how to get which already got? How to get something which is already there? That will be told by Vedanta. We will see in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ram Krishnarpanamastu.